offseason, kicking off with a story published by The Athletic about turmoil between star Luka Doncic and the front office. Not long after the team parted ways with general manager and president of basketball operations Donnie Nelson, whom Luka was very close with. And also, Nico Harrison took over. Also, longtime head coach Rick Carlisle stepping down and was replaced with Jason Kidd. Then a story this week emerges about Luka and Prozingis. According to Mark Cuban, Luka and Kristaps Prozingis have had dust-up since Prozingis arrived in Dallas. Rumors are they simply don't like each other. However, Prozingis was denying Mark Cuban's claims and said he has no issues with Luka. So Luka Doncic still only 22 and a rising star, averaging 35.7 points per game in the playoffs. That makes him the youngest player in NBA history to average 35 points a game in a postseason. He broke the record previously held by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Okay, so we had it wrong all along. Big D apparently stands for drama. Neek, how do these issues make Luka look?
I mean, he looks fine. It's not a big deal. It makes Mark Cuban look bad more than anyone. Luka, we're going to determine how we view Luka based on how many championships he wins. It's funny that you guys put up that list of, was it Kareem and Jordan, who scored as much as Luka has at this point in his career? Kareem and Jordan were both guys who people were critical about the way that they behaved and the way that they talked to their teammates and the way they talked to the media. But they won championships, so we remember them fondly. The same thing will happen for Luka. That's all that matters. We will write a story, or we will build mythology around him as being an intense competitor if he wins championships and he's a little bit and he doesn't get along with everybody. If he doesn't, then we'll write a story about how he's the problem. But in actuality, the person who it seems like looks worse right now is Mark Cuban. I'm not sure why you would share with the media that your two biggest stars have some beef. That doesn't seem like it helps anybody. And we see their organization kind of falling apart with the GM being fired and then the coach stepping down and all these stories leaking. That speaks to me, that speaks to Mark Cuban being able to run the organization well. It doesn't speak to me, or it doesn't speak to the 22-year-old superstar somehow messing this all up. So Luka will be fine. He'll keep getting better. They'll win some games. And he'll mature some, and we'll recognize that Luka is a great young player. But the organization dysfunction, you can't blame that on Luka. It seems to me like that goes all the way up to the top.
Well, Dominique, look, I agree. Mark Cuban should take some ownership of what's going on as far as with the whole organization and what's going on in Dallas. But I can't just let Luka off the hook for this right now. Something is going on with Luka. Rick Carlisle stepped down after Mark Cuban went out public and said, this is our coach. And for Rick Carlisle to step away, that's...
Yeah, I mean...
Listen, Dominique,
Yeah.
Looking at the body language from playing a team sport, you could tell from the body language of others that are around your superstar if they are pleased and happy on what's going on. And from the looks of it, I don't see a lot of high-fiving. I don't see a lot of chest bumping. I see it being the Luka Doncic show. And it's fine because, look, he's a hell of a player. He's probably going to go down.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with what you're saying there, Perk. It comes down to Luka, and I mean, I haven't been studying the body language, but when I kind of roll back in my mental Rolodex, they aren't there high-fiving as much as other teams. But I think part of that is because they aren't that good. I think Prozingis isn't the player that he was before the injury, and I think that adds to the reason why there might be some issues. So I'm not saying that Luka doesn't deserve any criticism, and I'm not saying that Luka doesn't need to mature some, but I think he will. It's hard for me to look at everything that's going on in Dallas right now and somehow put the responsibility on the 22-year-old superstar who's headed into his fourth season. He deserves to take some responsibility, and I'm sure he will mature and get better, and he'll recognize that being the leader of the team is not just scoring the most points and getting the most assists and getting triple doubles. It's about kind of managing the emotions of the locker room and making sure everybody's comfortable, make sure everybody's happy, making sure everybody eats. That's part part of the job. It's a lot to ask a guy who's who's only 22 years old to do all of that. And I think he'll grow into that. He'll acknowledge that he needs to do that. But right now, if we're looking at anybody to blame, like it seems the organizational dysfunction goes up to the top. And Luka deserves a little bit of blame and he'll grow from it. But if we're looking at one person to point the finger at, it's the person who can't seem to keep his organization. And that's not even to mention the dysfunction that they had with the way that they were treating women in the organization a couple years ago. Like there's a lot of reason to believe that they need to run a tighter ship down there in Dallas. And that ain't on Luka.
No, I agree with you. I didn't say all of it was on Luka, and a lot of it is on Mark Cuban, because you want me to tell you why? For the simple fact that, I think Mark Cuban gave too much to Luka. He put too much in his hands, meaning having control, being able to do what he do, catering to Luka. In that. It's a certain way, I get it. You get special privileges when you're a superstar, but you can't make it that noticeable. And Mark Cuban really dropped the ball by going out and speaking in public, saying that him and Prozingis, his two superstars, or two young stars on that team, his Batman and Robin, is having beef. That's just something that you got to keep in-house. So Mark Cuban, we already know that he's loose at the lips, but he also has to do a great job of controlling himself, getting this stuff in order, because he has a young star. And if he keeps this up in the direction that the Dallas Mavericks is going, they're going to lose Luka.
Yeah, I think it's very clear just from all of his complaining to the refs throughout the entire season. He's a very emotional guy. He has enough self-awareness to realize that and says, he needs to get better on that front. So hopefully he has some self-awareness, whatever the situation might be, and he can better himself, whatever the case might be. We're obviously on the outside here. So, all right, guys, let's keep it moving because we have another player to evaluate because Cam Newton. Scottie Pippen has been chirping last week, calling out KD and Doc Rivers, and even First Take. And then yesterday on the Dan Patrick Show, Pippen discussed the 1994 play in which Phil Jackson drew up a game-winning play for teammate Tony Kukoc instead of himself and had some very harsh words. Listen.
Have you talked to Phil about this? Because by saying a racial move, then you're calling Phil a racist.
I don't got a problem with that.
Do you think Phil was or is?
Oh, yeah.
Perk. What's your reaction to these comments?
Well, first of all, every time I see a photo, a video of Scotty, he has the damn bourbon sitting right on the side of him. And so with that being said, that's one thing that's disturbing to me. And I'm being dead serious right now, okay? Look, I don't understand what's going on with Scotty right now, and I really don't care. Seems like he's just venting, he's letting it all out. Maybe he need a reality show. I don't know. Real Housewives of Atlanta may need to, talk to him or whatever the case may be. I don't care. But to call Phil Jackson a racist.
Well, I feel like Perk and I are probably on the same page here. I don't know Phil Jackson. He may be a racist, but I don't think that it's fair to call him racist because he drew up a play for Tony Kukoc. He drew up a lot of plays for Michael Jordan, and I think that Perk was on to something. Scotty trying to sell this liquor hard. I hope somebody buy it because he's saying all types of crazy stuff. All the way back to last week where he did an interview for GQ with Tyler Tynes. He was talking crazy about KD. He coming at everybody. He trying to get some attention for this book or this liquor. I don't know what he wants people to buy, but please buy it so he will stop saying crazy stuff on TV and in print, because I can't get it. You could point to something else that Phil Jackson has done. You maybe even point to Phil Jackson calling LeBron's crew a posse, but drawing up a play for Tony Kukoc. Kukoc can shoot. That ain't a bad idea. We never thought about Scotty as like the game closer type of guy. I understand being offended by that. I understand being mad. But taking a leap from that to saying the man is racist, it could be a long jump. And again, I don't know. Maybe Phil is racist. But he ain't racist because he drew up a play for Tony, one of the best European players we've seen in the NBA.
Right, and I've been around Phil Jackson a few times, played against him. I played with Derek Fisher in Oklahoma City, who won championships with Phil Jackson, and he had nothing but high praise for Phil. He said Phil was a great coach. great guy to be around. He was down to earth. So far as me knowing him as being a racist, I never heard any of his players call him that. But I will say this. I did start looking at Phil a little sideways when he addressed LeBron James, Maverick Carter, Randy, and Rich Paul, and called his crew and called LeBron James a group of people, some very intelligent, wealthy guys, African American guys, a posse. I did have a problem with that. But right now, this is all about Scottie Pippen. This is nothing about Phil Jackson. This is about Scottie Pippen and what the hell is going on with him. Somebody need to find him, have a conversation, or sit down. I don't know what's happening with Scottie, but God bless his heart. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, I mean, I think the best read on this is Scottie understands the media. And Scottie understands the more inflammatory things he says, the more attention he's going to get. And once we get him attention, then we can see that bottle that's sitting next to him. He can sell some of that, or he can sell the books or whatever. Like, that's all he's trying to do. He's trying to make a couple dollars, and we helping him by doing that. So he did the right thing. He's saying wild stuff so we can come on and talk about it.
Well, I tell you what, Dominique and Charlie, if that bourbon is going to have you speaking crazy like that, I don't want no parts of it.
I don't know. I feel like most bourbons could have you speaking crazy.
Yeah,
I'm not a bourbon girl, but I feel like I've seen a thing or two in my day.
I wasn't before the pandemic started, but man, we had to get through it somehow, Charlie. We had a little bourbon, but I ain't messing with that Scottie bourbon. That Scottie bourbon a little too strong for me.
Yeah,
but,
a little too strong. A little too strong for everybody. Okay, well, we'll leave. You have something else you want to say first?
No. You got it, Charlie.
Okay.